All right, a couple of weeks ago we talked about A Sweet Hereafter starring Sarah Polley.
That's true.
And of course now we're going to talk a movie that she adapted screenplay and directed. So yeah.
So we're going to talk a film that I wasn't all that excited to see except for just the word of mouth.
Right.
When you have a movie, and I'm saying this honestly, if you have a movie called Women Talking, it doesn't sound like much happens. That's not to say that it's because of the women, it's because of the talking. If there was a movie called Men Talking, it would also sound very uninteresting to me. So
we're going to talk about Women Talking.
welcome back to the show. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Goethe from GoetheFilmReviews.com.
Hi everybody, I'm Nick from the St. Paul Filmcast. Thanks for watching, thanks for finding us, and for our loyal fans, thank you for continuing to support the show. You can follow the show on Twitter and on Instagram. We do have a Patreon. Check that out for some great deals to tell us what movies we should review in the future. Both Kyle and I are members of the Minnesota Film Critics Alliance. Check out that webpage for critic reviews as well as ours. And we're talking about a movie that came out just recently, a couple weeks ago, just released, Women Talking.
All right. When the women of a religious colony discover that they've been sexually assaulted numerous times by the local men, they are faced with three choices: stay in the colony and forgive them, stay and fight them, or leave, potentially facing eternal damnation in the process. A select group of women have gathered in secret to weigh the options and make a decision.
Okay, once again, I'll talk about this is directed by Sarah Polley. She's done other movies as too. Check out Away From Her, which is one of her, I think her first movie she ever directed is about a person that had dementia, but she falls in love. His wife has dementia, but she falls in love with a different person. She forgets she's married to her husband, and off you go.
Wow,
which is kind of an endearing kind of a movie, also made in Canada. It's based on the book by Miriam Taves. That's how you say it, Taves. It looks like toes, but it's Taves, with the same title. And they don't, and I think in the book as well as this movie, they don't give you an exact time and date and location.
Well, in the movie they do.
They do.
Because they're doing the 2010 census during that one scene. So we get that kind of blanket spot where the census is being done. I was confused about that because I was trying to figure out if it was a 2020, but then I think someone mentions 2010 at some point there.
Like 80s music, too.
But yeah, that kind of comes with having that, like, I think an unnamed colony, but it is like a religious sect or cult in some ways that these people are in, so that, everything kind of seems like it's regressed, There's that muted tones with the visuals and stuff. Everything kind of seems old-timey.
I don't want to do a comparison, but I felt very much like The Village. Like this was like the movie
That's
Village,
true.
where it's an isolated colony from the outside world, but then they come in and take the men away, and this is all 100%, almost 100% women cast.
Yeah.
Obviously just one.
Yeah, I'm not going to slight Ben Whishaw, who I love, so I was so excited to see Paddington over there. But
right. Which is unique because in this year we've had quite a success of female directors. And this was another one of them. But this was also female directors with entire, almost female cast.
Yeah. And we have that even just music by Hildur Guðnadóttir, who did.
Oh, he did it. I was going to say music by.
She recently did Tar. But yeah, Hildur, who I thought her Joker score was great. And this is a more kind of repressed score. It's not as bombastic at all, but it works pretty well. But again, we have some women behind the camera, in front of the camera. Just like portraying what is essentially a play on film.
Somebody reviewed it saying it's the reversal of 12 Angry Men. I can understand that comparison.
Oh, yeah.
But it's kind of it's almost theatrical stage. You put them in one place and you have all of them have their grievances and stuff like that.
That's a great double feature. I'll have to keep that in mind.
But it's complete. We're talking about condemning. But it stars Rooney Mara, who we've seen from Nightmare Alley, Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, Judith Ivory, and Frances McDormand, who's also a producer of the film.
Yep.
You don't see a lot of her. She maybe has 2 or 3 scenes almost.
Yeah,
but she's definitely wrote a check for it, obviously.
Yeah, she. I think that's part of it, is that it's almost like there wasn't maybe a role that would have fit her as well, but she wanted to be on set producing, and this kind of helps aid that. And of course, if there's a movie you want to make that you want to see through to fruition, get on the set and make sure it happens, I guess. So, but it's interesting that our 2 leads, Claire Foy and Rooney Mara, both became famous with playing Lisbeth Salander, in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Girl in the Spider's Web, or Oh, Spider's Nest. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Why are we getting Nomi then? Romy Repents.
that's true. We didn't. Yeah. Maybe the
Yeah,
sequel.
all three of them. All right, Elizabeth Slander. Cinematography is by Luke
Montpellier, I think.
Montpellier. She also did cinematography for The Neon Demon. We also critiqued that movie, and we also talked about that Nicholas probably recruited her to do that film because there's a lot of female, the content of that movie.
Yeah.
But here, it's one of those things that's cinematography. I can understand it getting nominated, but there's so much other great cinematography out there.
Yeah, that's the thing about it, is that the film is not trying to be flashy.
Right.
And so we're going to see, if we see anything, I do think this film is going to get nominated for Best Picture this year. I think it's going to get nominated for, like, I made a joke the other day when I was talking about how, like, you could literally have every woman in this film fill every Best Lead Actress, and Supporting Actress slot, just all of them.
Right.
And that would be good. If you had no other films with women out this entire year, that would be your Best Actors, Leading Actress, and Best Supporting Actress all in one. And so I have to assume at least one of these female performances is going to get in.
They all get their turn shouting.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
everyone
Ben.
stands out. Yeah.
Even Ben.
Ben's a bit of a punching bag throughout the film, but it's for good reason. It's because he is there to listen. And I think that's kind of the issue, is that the conversation piece has to be there.
Right. If you didn't know, the overall story is basically you have three decisions. You stay here and fight, you kind of just roll with it, or you flee.
Yeah.
And that's the dynamic here, what they're trying to do. And you kind of breaking up in what do you want to do? You want to flee, you want to fight, or you just want to just ignore it.
Yeah, and what surprises me is the amount of perspectives displayed in the film. You know where every character stands by the end of it. You even the characters who aren't even in the barn. We've got other smaller characters outside that we kind of interact with throughout the narrative. We've got younger characters, older characters, everyone kind of mixed together, and they each have their own personal journey. You could watch this movie and focus on just one of them.
Yes.
And you could get everything you need. I saw this film back at the Twin Cities Film Fest a couple months ago, and then I was just able to recatch it last week. And I tried to do that. I picked a character and just focused on her journey throughout the film, and it worked just as well.
Right. I saw this twice before, and it's one of those that you pick up on things you didn't really notice before because it's very soft.
Yeah.
But it gets very loud. There's a lot of hills and valleys, and everybody gets their exposition scene, almost like it's a stage play.
Yeah.
I probably see this probably going to be in a stage play or kicked around.
I'm surprised it hadn't been adapted from the play from the book,
Right,
Because
yeah.
usually that tends to be your trajectory.
Yeah.
What surprised me too is the staging. Because sometimes when you have a lot of people in one location, you get these stagings where people kind of walk up to the other end and they stand there and they pace and they stare off at the distance and they decide to speak. Then, like, you kind of have that faux staging where it looks like a play.
Sit in your spot and wait for your line.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
we never really have that in the film. There's that ongoing conversation throughout the entire narrative too. So
Not to mention you have the girls observing how the adults
yeah.
interact. And one of the best parts, and I'll get to my review in a minute and talk about it, but the reviews of the girls are saying, well, isn't it obvious?
Yeah.
You guys are talking about, it's obvious to us. What's the big deal? Let's go. Let's leave.
Yeah, I think that's what's captivating, is that each person brings their self to it, and the way in which the narrative unfolds, you think to yourself, well, it's an obvious choice. But every time someone makes a decision, they realize a new wrinkle in that question. Like, do we take the kids? Do we do this? Like, how do we do it? Which way do we do?
We're been able and trained and conditioned not to be independent.
Yeah, I love that Judith Ivey, who I remember her from The Devil's Advocate back in '97. She's great as Keanu Reeves' mother. But she's here and she doesn't have a lot of bombastic moments, but she has one line delivery that I think is fantastic, which is, we've never asked the men for anything. We've never asked them for salt, to pass the salt at the table, or an extra cover at night when we're sleeping. It's funny, the only thing we're asking them is to leave.
Yeah.
So,
and finally, to leave.
Yeah.
And you understand that these characters are not educated. They're pretty much just the Bible, and that's live, right?
Yeah.
With this patriarchal system, and just roll with the oppression. And this is almost like, not really soft, but kind of how the people interact. How do you deal with getting out of oppression? It's almost like you've been in jail, off you go. Well, I don't know what to do. Like, it's almost like you open the jail cell, you're free to leave. You're like, really?
yeah. Well, then it's how, and then
And it's how, and then it's like, well, I got my friends. Can my friends come to? Right.
What I think is most fascinating too is is that every possible option has its major pros and its major cons.
Yes, spilled out.
And that none of and I think the most fascinating one is the fact that if we leave, we may be damned. And for a religious group like this that has been trained that you get in one place or you get in another, to leave and to be damned is a horrifying idea. Like when you really put that into the minds of the characters, that is terrifying as an option.
As well as you see civilization over the hill. You see smoke and everything. It's almost like what they did in Banshees. There's a war going on over there.
Yeah.
You just boom, 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 and you're like, well, there's another world out there, but it's because you don't haven't, and this has been sanctuary. No matter how awful and painful it is, it's been their sanctuary.
Yeah.
It's the title and in the hands, and the poster as well as the title, I don't think does justice to the content of the movie.
Absolutely.
I think if you change the title a little bit or something, or fleeing or something, I don't know what you do, but the title, even that poster doesn't give you the content. So I think that's kind of sells it short. I think you need some kind of promotional gimmick, and we got those, and I was like, I got it, I had nothing about it. I was like, is this like disobedience?
Yeah.
Like the two girls fall in love and they're just talking about it, and it's like, no, you have to look and like, oh my God, this is what it is. So
is this just Mennonite Bound?
Right. And we're just two white dudes talking about this movie about women trying to bash the patriarchal system. But I think you need to change the title a little bit and change the poster a little bit.
Yeah, I think the poster does at least a slightly better job than the title. But that title is not good, because the thing is, we don't go to movies just for the dialogue. We go to movies for the experience, the visual experience. So, like, when you just kind of placate the fact that it's a bunch of, not just women, again, we're saying, even if the movie was called Men Talking, it wouldn't be a very good title.
Yeah.
Bros
talking. Right,
bros talking about life. So, I mean, I think just the title doesn't sell the film. Thankfully, they did scoot the release date back a week, so it wasn't coming out the same weekend as Avatar, but that's still going to be a tough sell when you're trying to take the kids to the movie.
And I want to bring it back. This is my only harsh criticism, because it's going to be on a top 10 of my film. Even the picture's too dark.
Yeah.
I know the content's dark, but the movie's a little bit brightly lit.
Yeah, it's not a poster that'll be up on my wall. That being said, you mentioned already, this is absolutely in my top 10 of the year. And watching it for the second time and then the third time, it has stayed in that conversation for me, because it's a movie that
The performances are outstanding.
Yeah. I'm in shock by how much I love this movie. I thought I would like it. I heard great things about it. I was like, I think this.
And right now, anything Jessie Buckley does is gonna be a great movie.
That's true.
And Claire Foy, she should get some kind of nomination. Claire, for her angst of like this stay.
Yeah, I think the three people that because the three people spend the most time with, I think, is being Rooney Mara, Claire Foy, and Jessie Buckley. I think of the three of them, I think Jessie Buckley has the most dynamic performance, because she is someone who is just consistently, she's angry. She's very upset about what's going on. But at the same time, she's also probably the most torn character, because she changes her mind, I think, to all three choices at once. She's like constantly flipping. Jessie Buckley is an actress who I recognized from Wild Rose a couple years back. And then every time I have seen her in a film, I'm more in love with her as a performer. I think she's brilliant. This year she had a great movie called Men that came out, and now a movie called Women Talking that came out. She's really doing.
Now she's going to do that movie Hot Milk.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, she actually just did a video game called The Devil in Me, based on the H.H. Holmes murders, where she plays a playable character in a video game that I will be adding to my collection.
Her stock is consistently rising.
Absolutely.
And she's got a great agent that picks her right.
She will be getting an Oscar. Maybe not for this movie, but maybe not. She'll get one.
Eventually, yes, absolutely, eventually. So I'm probably seeing a Best Picture nomination.
Yep.
I'm probably seeing Best Adapted Screenplay. It's going to be hard for cinematography.
I think hard for cinematography. The film did make the short list for Best Original Score. That is the 15 films that are now narrowed down.
It did,
so
right, yeah.
It is part of that conversation.
And we're looking for supporting. I think Judith would get probably supporting actress.
I don't know that the film's going to get a lot of supporting. I think the supporting one will be Jessie.
You think so?
I think they're going to try and skirt that down, because there's a lot of lead actress push going right now that I think the film is going to try and skirt as many actresses as it can into supporting. And go, and actually, which one are they pushing for right now? They're pushing for supporting actress Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, Judith Ivey, Sheila McCarthy, Michelle McLeod, like 3 or 4 other people. So
I would do Claire.
Yeah,
I just was gravitated, but also she's working with great, other performances around her. It's hard.
Yeah,
was just pick one out of all of them, it's hard.
It's like picking your favorite kid because just every performance in the movie is solid.
It's a great ensemble cast. It should be nominated for a great ensemble cast.
I think we'll definitely see that at is that the Critics' Choice Awards?
BAFTA does that too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So
yeah.
Have you seen Women Talking?
Yeah. Let us know your thoughts down below.
You really should. It's one of the best pictures of the year.
It absolutely is, and it's again. Ignore the title and the poster if they don't appeal to you. Check it out. I don't know if it's really a date night movie, but check out the movie when you get a chance.
It's heavy.
In January, when things kind of cool down at the box office and you've seen Avatar 5 times, why don't you go check out Women Talking instead? Avatar's got enough money. You're good. So go and see that film, and then let us know your thoughts down below, what you thought about Women Talking, and maybe is there another Sarah Polley film we should talk about? Maybe a performance one, maybe a directing one.
And she did Dawn of the Dead, right?
Oh man, I love her in Dawn of the Dead. That's so good. Why are we talking about Dawn of the Dead and a Woman Talking? So make sure when you're down there, please like and subscribe. There are 2 free things you can do that help support the channel immensely, and you never miss new episodes of the show as they drop. We appreciate it. Don't forget too, as Nick pointed out, that Patreon link's down there. We'd love to have you join the team. Patreon.com/KyleNickOnFilm.
Help us pick out the movies.
Yeah, and thank you guys for joining us. You can find all my film reviews over at GoatFilmReviews.com.
And you can find my show, the St. Paul Filmcast, anywhere you find podcasts, and we're men talking
about women talking.